Good evening, race fans, and here we are, another Wednesday night Freaky Fast broadcast. Tonight we're at Atlanta Motor Speedway with the Wicked Racing League. Like I said, Atlanta Motor Speedway is the new pave, the new configuration for the Get Money 175. We're here for 175 laps. This is Carl Pooler up in the booth with Zach Hall, and as always, the trooper, Robert Moyer Jr. up in the production booth. And Zach, this is the first round of playoffs, and this is the Super Speedway mile and a half. This has been a wild track in real life and here in the sim. What can we expect tonight?
Well, man, we can expect to see a lot of action. That is going to be one of the big things that I think is going to be the topic of the night is how do you stay out of the mess? How do you get around and pass each other? Because first of all, this track is not very wide. The opportunities to pass will be there, but with this not very wide surface, those opportunities will be slim. I'm very interested tonight how it starts off with these playoffs, Carl. It's going to be a blast, and man, we can't wait. We could not wait to be back here tonight on a Wednesday night here broadcasting, and I just want everybody out there tuning in. Let's get some hearts out in the chat for our producer, our owner here at Freaky Fast, Robert Moore Jr. Like Carl said, he is a trooper, folks. He's back here in the booth with us tonight after recovering from a heart attack, and man, what a guy to come back here on a Wednesday night and enjoy some racing with us.
What a guy indeed, and that just goes to show, ladies and gentlemen, that is his love for the community. Well, he loves what he does. He loves bringing this freaky fast action almost every night of the week, and tonight we're lucky enough to have him here for qualifying for Atlanta Motor Speedway, the Buttkicker Cup Series for Wicked Racing League. Like I mentioned, start of the playoffs. This is a 4-round playoffs. We have the top 12 drivers as we concluded Las Vegas last weekend with Gavin Rogers taking the checkered flag. But as I mentioned also, this is kind of a super speedway race, so it really is anyone's game tonight.
That it really is, Carl. This is not the normal Atlanta we've been used to. This is the new configuration, like you've said. And man, 175 laps here tonight. It's going to take some gladiator mentality to survive this place. It's first of all, it was known as one of the toughest tracks on the circuit, anyways, with the tire wear it had. But now it's a whole new beast. They take out that whole style of racing. They add the pack style racing here, and it's going to be side by side action from the drop of the green flag all the way down to that white flag and then finally that checkered flag. But we got those two stages, of course, always here at the Wicked Racing League here on lap 50 and lap 100. So we'll have to pay attention and see who can position themselves, because remember, playoffs start tonight, like Carl said. Those are going to be super important times for the game points.
And some of the drivers may, like Gavin Rogers, Alex Coffey, maybe have a little bit of cushion with some points, but other drivers just trying to get their way through and survive. You mentioned earlier, Zach, it is a much narrower track. It is very difficult to get out of the mess when there will inevitably evolve one here, and it just makes it the racing that much more intense, and the track position here in this qualifying session that much more important, because you want to be in front. You want all this stuff to happen behind you. You don't want to have to drive into it. But as I'm talking here, we are wrapping up the qualifying session. Looks like we have 22 drivers in the lobby tonight ready for some playoff action for the Wicked Racing League Buttkicker Cup Series, Zach. And I don't know about you, but I'm excited for this race.
Definitely am, Carl. And from looking at those lap times there as that qualifying session comes to the final few moments, and man, just really close times all throughout the board. I mean, there's only about 2/10 separating the first 18 cars.
And that's that super speedway mentality. You hug the bottom of the track, you get the line you need, you get the fastest, shortest way around the track on your qualifying time, and that what's really condenses this field. And we're going to see it twice, at least 2 different restarts at the beginning of stages 2 and stage 3, on top of the initial start of the race. And with that, qualifying has concluded, and we are going to go grid up and pull up our qualifying results, and that is going to start with Alex Coffey taking the pole with a 31.4. Stephen Borbell, a really solid time with a 31.46 as well, taking that second position. Mason Houseman in third, Gavin Rogers in fourth, Blaine Wilson rounding out the top 5 with Christopher Norris hitting that 6th position. Johnny Shade sitting there in 7th. Martin Morales there in 8th. Nigel Christensen in 9th. And then TJ Roberts rounding out the top 10.
First car starting outside the top 10 is going to be Christian DeRoches in the 11th position. 12th is going to go to Richard Wolfeser. 13th is going to be Chad Bean in the 9 machine. 14th is going to go to Dallas Manis. 15th is going to be the 51 of Gregory Shaw. 16th is going to be Jimmy Kubadek. 17th is going to be Giovanni Perez Diemco. 18th is going to be Steve T. Cole. 19th going to go to Mike Thomas. And we'll have Sam Dyer in 20th. Jamie Plord in 21st. And rounding our 22 car field here tonight, it's Adam Buzzio.
And Jamie Plord is going to be interesting. He actually finished in the top 3 at Talladega not too long ago. So him starting at the back of this field is going to be really interesting, being able to watch him power his way through this field. But we are getting ready to go, at least pacing here for one to go in green light racing. But Zach, we have an 85% fuel load. That may not be as critical at this stages, but tire wear. I believe this track still is kind of known for its tire wear. You're really going into the corners at a really, really fast speed and hoping that those tires grip and get you around the corner. Can we expect to see some tire wear tonight at this new configuration?
Yes, surprisingly, when we speak about super speedway racing, a lot of times we don't really too many times hint at tire wear, but tonight it will be a factor. This 1.5 mile racetrack, carrying these types of speeds continuously lap after lap, the tires will see a little bit of drop off, I believe, and that is where you can maybe see some drivers start to make their moves. But I'm interested to see which line will be dominant. I think as those tires wear, guys might start to look to move up the racetrack and try to look for that higher groove to work. So let's see how it works out here tonight at the Atlanta Motor Speedway, as it's going to be super speedway action.
Super speedway action, freaky fast racing up ahead. And ladies and gentlemen, you see the drivers with the yellow banners, the yellow spoilers. Those are our playoff drivers, and we are about to go playoff racing here at Atlanta Motor Speedway as the field rounds 3 into 4. The pace car will make that left turn onto pit road, and we will go green, but here just momentarily, so slow around this 1.5 miles, not your typical super speedway. But right now the field in the hands of the 7, Alex Coffey, our pole sitter, and there is the green flag. We are racing here at Atlanta Motor Speedway.
Just like that, Alex Coffey going to lead the way here into the playoffs. One of those playoff drivers indeed is, along with him would be Gavin Rogers, Stephen Borbell, Nigel Christensen, Johnny Shea, Mason Halsman, TJ Roberts, Blaine Wilson, Adam Buzzio, Jamie Plord, Chad Bean, and Jimmy Kubadek, your 12 playoff drivers. So we're going to have to watch for those yellow playoff banners. It was early. Here we go. Borbell to the inside, Carl.
That is an aggressive move down the backstretch into 3. Alex Coffey might have tried to block that outside lane, but Stephen Borbell chopping off the inside of Mason Hausman in the 78, but that is going to allow the 7 and the 17 to hook up, and they are a 2-man tandem team going into turn 1 up high. But Alex Coffey might have rubbed the wall a little bit. That is going to scrub some of that momentum and allow the 19 on the inside to get up to the door of the 7 into turn 3, and here we go. All these playoff drivers just kind of vying for those playoff spots, and we see the 7 go way high up the track again, the 17 trying to follow, but right now not pushing, not even bump drafting at this point, as we see the 17 give a little bit of a nudge to the 7, but everyone trying to fill out their cars this early in the run.
Yeah, trying to fill it out, no doubt indeed. Here as we drop farther back, it's Martin Morales in his 91 machine, not one of the playoff drivers, but one of the newcomers here to the league. I think he's doing what we're going to see a few drivers elect to do. There's Gregory Shaw also behind him, and the 51 looks to be doing the same. They're dropping to the back of this field, Carl, trying to get out of harm's way here early in stage 1 when, these drivers aren't worrying about stage points, I feel like, as much. They're here for the win tonight as they're not in the playoffs.
And that just gives you that freedom if you're not in the playoffs. Unfortunately, you may not be running for that championship title, but that allows you to open up your strategy. You're only focused on wins, only for the glory of it. But as we're running, we were watching the 77 of Kubanek trying to get around in the outside, the 83 of Christopher Norris there for the 11th spot. And he's one of those drivers looking for those stage points. And there he is on the outside looking in.
Yeah, definitely looking for stage points in that 77 machine. One of our playoff contenders out here, came into the 12th position coming into the playoffs. So Kubanek made it in. Now is his chance to try to get some good points here, starting off at the Atlanta Motor Speedway. And right now with a good look here from the top side, looks like that top side maybe moving a little bit quicker here at the moment.
Well, a little bit quicker, at least on the front stretch, you get that momentum. But the inside is the shorter way around. The 17, the 19, the 78, all getting door-to-door with the leader of Alex Coffey in the corner. So right now, there doesn't seem to be a line that's prevailing more than the other. And right now, TJ Roberts, our winner at Daytona earlier this year, looking solid in that 5th position up front. Also, one of our playoff drivers going to give a nice little bump to the 7 going into turn 3. And right there, the outside lane fell behind just a little bit, but the shove by the 3 really helped the 7 get back to the door of the 17.
Yeah, those two teammates up top from CNC Esports working very well together here to start this race off up on that top side. They also got the 56 of Richard Wolfster right behind him. Alongside him, it's got Mason Hausman in 78. Good to see him return after a few weeks not out on the racetrack. And with that win at Watkins Glen, he moved his way into the playoffs. So here at Atlanta, he's going to be looking for big points.
And back to the 56, Richard Wolsifer. He is the highest car not in the playoffs scored at the moment. And I mentioned, there was a huge moment there. The 78 got loose out of the corner. Blaine Wilson looking to have to check up just a little bit to save the rest of the field from wrecking. But great racecraft there. Everyone having patience over speed there. But back to 56, I mentioned the 38 of Plor doing really well. He was teamed up with the 56, so these guys may have a bit of a different strategy, but so far have been separated from the start of this race.
Yeah, definitely some separation between those two at the moment, but they got plenty of time in this 175 lap event to get back together. So we'll see how that all works out as Richard keeps it up on the top side. Again, it looks like that top side, the longer you go into the run, that seems to be the way to go, is that bottom being led by Gavin Rogers, Stephen Borbell, Mason Hausman, and Blaine Wilson. Those 4 cars down low just not able to stay right close enough to be able to stay up alongside that Alex Coffey.
And, that might have been due to the loose condition of the 78 coming off of 4. He had to get off of the throttle. And, we see a little bit of a bunch up there. The 20, the 77, the 9 of Chad Bean bunching up a little bit. There might have been some contact, some wrinkled metal there. But I think for now, for the most part, we are fine. And there's the 24. Johnny Shade, you see him with that playoff banner. He is on the outside looking in at the moment, sitting there in the 13th position, but trying to recover as the 51 of Gregory Shaw, you noted earlier, Zach, he tried to fall back, and right now he is trying to just survive these 2 stages and what may come, and maybe make a run to the checkered flag.
Yeah, 2 distinct packs right now. Just like you said, being led by Gregory Shaw. You also got Jamie Plor there right on his back bumper in that 38. Giovanni Perez D'Amco back here. Martin Morales, Sam Dyer, Christian DeRoches. So that's going to be that group of drivers there from the 20th position up to 15th. And they're about 5 seconds back. So if something big was to happen with that pack up ahead, they would have plenty of time to react. And that's kind of the game plan I think a lot of these drivers are doing. None of these drivers back here, other than Jamie Plor, I believe, I have to correct myself if not. But yeah, Jamie Plor, he is the only playoff driver back here located in this position.
And the only playoff driver on that long-term strategy, just trying to survive his way, as the top 14 cars are in that breakaway pack trying to get those points. It looks like the 21, Adam Buzzio, back out on the track. He was a little late coming on. He said he was going to try, and it looks like Adam Buzzio is on the track. Only 1 lap down at the moment, it looks like, so good for Adam being able to make his way back here and able to race with us tonight.
Yeah, no doubt. Adam's definitely liking that. He only went 1 lap down there. That will definitely help him try to get back in position when that stage caution comes out at lap 50. The only concern I have for him is Mike Thomas in the 1 is all by himself, about 17 seconds back in 21st position. And that could end up trouble if that 1 car goes a lap down and could trap Buzzio not getting that lucky dog. That could be a tough break for him here at lap 50, but has another stage after that to try to get that lap back also. So it's going to be a little bit of a time for the 21 to get back on the lead lap, but he's got time to do it.
He's got time, but you know it's can be very difficult here at Atlanta Motor Speedway to make up that time. But right now we have a side-by-side battle for the lead once again. The 17 of Gavin Rogers up door to door of 7 Alex Coffey. Right behind Coffey is the 3, his teammate TJ Roberts. Behind the 17 is the 19, is Stephen Borbell. Borbell has run well at all the super speedways we have run this season at Wicked Racing League. And so Borbell is probably a solid start and a solid person you want to have behind you on a super speedway configuration.
Yeah, I would completely agree with you there, Carl. And, also got his teammate Blaine Wilson not too far behind him. Only Mason Halsman separates him from that his 2018 teammate there of that 18 machine. So, and also they got Nigel Christensen not too far back. He's behind the 96 of Steve T. Cole. So 2018 racing, they are definitely able to get grouped up here possibly. But it looks like right now still that inside line trying to fight their way back. But it's been led by Gavin Rogers, and he has been able to claw his way up to that 7 machine.
Well, Zach, let's look back a few weeks at Talladega. For a large portion of the race, it was the 4-car team of 2018 Racing and the 4-car team of CNC Motorsports running up, taking the top 8 positions for quite a few laps. So right now we're seeing that again start to develop and trying some of these drivers maybe get their nose in there, sniff some of these points, and maybe end up as a spoiler as we're talking about the 45 of Manis here. He was a little late entry, wasn't able to make it into the playoffs, but the 45 looking to make a name for himself in the Wicked Racing League and try and steal a win here from some of these playoff drivers.
Yeah, no doubt, even that help his teammates there at CNC Sports. So we'll have to see what he can do as he's stuck behind the 56 at the moment, but just riding along here on the top side is 18 laps already clicked away as we're getting closer and closer. Remember, folks, that lap 50 will be the end of stage 1 where the top 10 drivers out here will get points ranging from 10 all the way down to 1 for that 10th place driver. So definitely a critical time if you're playoff drivers, and I think that's why you see all these yellow banners. Normally, personally, I feel like a lot of these drivers, if this wasn't a playoff race, Carl, they'd probably be racing it a little bit differently, trying not to be in this position right now, but they know how critical stage points can come back to being to getting on to the next rounds.
Oh yeah, definitely, Zach. We've seen it all season long where drivers need those stage points, need those winning points. I mean, Gavin Rogers last week won for the first time. In fact, it was his first podium in a few weeks, and Gavin Rogers had a couple of weeks where he didn't finish where he wanted to and lost a momentous lead. He was up almost 75 points. He lost about 50 points in those bad finishes, and that just goes to show how valuable these stage points are in the Wicked Racing League. And right now, Gavin Rogers battling the 7 of Alex Coffey. And Zach, there's still not a dominant line. The inside line seems to have to lift up a little bit more, but the outside line has to take a longer way around the track. How do you balance the two? And on top of that, you have strategy, you have tires you need to worry about, you have fuel you need to worry about. Which lane do you want to be in and why?
Yeah, personally, I would prefer the top just so you have that little bit more room to wash up the racetrack there to that wall. So I think that's why you're seeing a lot of guys locate themselves up there. But I tell you, the guys on the inside have done a fantastic job to stay right in control. And, that's the kind of ebb and flow you'll see here at super speedways and a place like Atlanta Motor Speedway, especially now. As that inside line has the shorter distance around the corner, they'll start to come forward through the corner. But as you go in that straightaway, that top groove has that better launch off the corner and just seems to be the fastest way down the straightaway. So it seems like they pull away in the straightaway and then kind of bring it back there in the corner. So it's kind of a tug of war right now between those two lines, but I think it's definitely going to set up for a really interesting battle the closer we get to lap 50.
And a driver who's capitalized on that outside line is the 77 of Kubanek. He was one of our playoff drivers who started us furthest back, down in the 16th position, but right now finds himself racing in that 9th spot amongst those playoff drivers in that outside line, and right now may be able to take another spot from the 18. Stephen Borbell doing really well for himself, sitting there. He qualified in his 2nd position, but it's fallen back to 5th, but not due to any fault of his own. Just had a couple of cars maneuver around him earlier in the race, and just has been maintaining his race at the moment, pushing the 17 of Gavin Rogers around this track for the past, I don't know, about 20 laps or so. And right, you see right there, a huge shove on the inside line from Mason Houseman. All four of those inside drivers at the moment are playoff drivers, and there's Alex Coffey getting into the wall, and that's going to cause that outside line to lose all of that momentum, cause that accordion effect. And there's the 19. Stephen Borbell sees an opportunity and takes that outside line away from Alex Coffey, and just like that, you see a change in the guard at the front row, and Alex Coffey still with issues getting up in that wall and losing a lot of momentum. Zach, that is going to be huge for that outside lane.
Yeah, that was huge, a move there from the 19 of Borbell to get up there. But look at this, the top side, all of them just washing up the racetrack here as this run goes on. I'm thinking these cars are starting to behave a little bit like they don't like. You see TJ Roberts, he jumps down there, the 3 machine down to the bottom lane. I think we'll maybe see his teammate now jump back up top, and right into the wall as he made that move. But that's just showing these cars are not handling well. 3 wide off of 2.
And these cars have not been handling well these past 10 laps or so. Coffey would been having brushes with that outside wall, but lately the heaviest contact by the 3, TJ Roberts, and this caused a split here, allowing Nigel Christensen to slip into the 5th position right behind his teammate, Stephen Borbell. And here we are, 2018 Racing, 3 teammates, almost bumper to bumper with the kind of a book stop with the 17 and the 78, and they have a 5-car breakaway here at the front. So Zach, already the tire is wearing, cars showing their true colors as the run rolls on.
Yeah, this is going to be very, very interesting. I want to see, maybe can you position yourself farther back in this pack, kind of ride along and even maybe lift a little bit, save a little fuel, save a little bit of tires, and try to make a charge later in the run. So we'll see how that works out. But right now, it's definitely deteriorating up top.
And, and everyone is now, as I talk, Alex Coffey goes for the outside move along the 20 of Christensen, and just like that, he tries, but he doesn't have any help. The 20 has his teammate of Borbell behind him. The 7 is going to get hung out to dry, and is actually going to lose a spot to the 19. So just like that, teamwork is so, so important. But right there, you see the 56 behind the 19. He was one of those cars in the outside line, and he was just unable to make it work. And there he is behind the 19, losing a couple of spots, but so far keeping his eyes on the prize, staying in tow of the lead pack.
Yeah, definitely got to stay right there in tow, like you said, Carl. And that's the key. You're going to see how can they transition through this run. I think the drivers need all of that racetrack, so a lot of them have moved down to the bottom to give their car a little bit more room to slide up there. And right now, you're seeing this 7 machine under attack from the 56, but he's got his teammate TJ Roberts up top here in the 3 to try to help him, as right now they're going into lap traffic. The one of Mike Thomas, like I said, he was going to get caught at some point. Now it's going to happen as he's going to be coming up right here 3 wide off of 2.
3 wide here at Atlanta is so very precarious. Zach, you mentioned it's so much more narrow as we go again. Alex Coffey with the power mover on the outside of the 19, allowing the 56 to take the inside, but the 56 doesn't have the run. The 7 hoping to be able to tag along in the draft of the car in front of him, but we will see as the 1 of Mike Thomas falls further and further behind. And right now, definitely bouncing off the wall. Even these lap cars having issues with the handling of these race cars tonight.
At 31 laps in, and it's showing here, man, is these tires have just had an ill effect here on these drivers of handling on the race car. So everybody trying to figure out how they can master this car here late in the going, as Mike Thomas is now slid to the back of this front pack. Gavin Rogers, though, doing a great job controlling the lead up front in that lead position. And he's got Blaine Wilson now in the 18 along, right behind him with the 78 of Hossman leading that top side again with the 7 and 3 jump back up top. We'll see, can they start to make some more headway again on this top side?
And here we go. That inside line is not organized. There's a gap between that 2nd and 3rd car in line as the top line starts to get organized, but there's the 7 going really high up against the wall again, decides to against it. Ooh, gives the 78 a really uncomfortable shove. The 78 getting squirrely on the exit of turn 4, but they all survive to race another lap as the 78 takes the inside line away from the 18, but that allows the 7 to Alex Coffey again, bumper to bumper with his teammate on the outside line. And just like that, 10 laps later, the shuffling is settled down and very similar to what we saw earlier.
Definitely, man. I tell you, it's interesting as again as they go into the corner, it just seems like those cars don't want to make it. I mean, you can think about it like this: I mean, we right now running out front a 31-44 for our leader of Gavin Rogers. If you look all the way back to the start of this race, it was a 30.1. You're seeing almost a second and a half of fall off here, 34 laps into this race. I mean, I talked about it before, Carl. I didn't think we'd hear too much, thought about tire wear, but it does seem to be a lot of fall off here as these drivers look to hold a handle of these cars.
These drivers are definitely having to deal with substantial tire fall off. But Zach, more important, I think, is the 7 and some of these cars repeatedly whacking that outside wall. How much damage will that do to the bodywork? How much damage will that do to the suspension? Will that increase the tire wear? Will that decrease your speed, increase your drag? That's all these things these drivers need to start thinking about, and maybe it's trying to be a little more conservative because that worries me, losing that security on a straight right rear quarter pedal.
No, you're exactly right, Carl. This is something you don't want to damage. You do not want to get up into that wall too many times. These cars are very, very tough. There's big move being made up front as Hausman looked to the inside of Rogers and just could not make it stick, and that was close action there for the lead. That's actually on the top side, a little bit of a run here, but definitely a tough start of this race, man. And right now, it seems like a lot of bumping and banging going now. As I think, again, this is the one thing I was interested in is when we start to see the shoving start to happen more as we get closer and closer to that stage, lap 36, I think the aggression level's picked up.
The aggression level has picked up as well as the exact reverse of the handling has gone down on these cars. A lot of these drivers struggling, trying to get the handle on these cars with these older tires, these worn tires. And that last lap was another 31.4, so 1.2 seconds off our initial lap times, and that is really causing an issue. As even the 17, Gavin Rogers washes up the track. That forces the 7, to go a little high and lose a little bit of momentum. Zach, this dirty air, it seems like the more and more we go on, seems to be more and more important as the tires wear. So talk about that tire wear and the combination of that dirty air, even if it is someone just driving across your nose.
Yeah, no, it can have a huge effect. I mean, Gavin Rogers is going to have so much more grip out front. His diffuser and bottom of the floor of his car is the 18 of Wilson up into the wall there with a little bit of checkup in front with the 78. With having that clean air, it allows you to have so much more grip. And right here now is Coffee had the clean air up top, and now he's going to have Blaine Wilson right there on the nose. And look at that. The 7 goes up the racetrack there, losing the nose, but luckily does not get back up into that wall. So like we said, don't want to build up that damage as these cars are tough, like I was saying before, but damage can pile up, especially with the new damage model we've seen. It will fatigue the side of the car the more and more you hit it. And looks like Coffee got it once more. That's about the 4th or 5th time he's got it this race, and you can see it is so tough to follow behind somebody in that dirty air when these tires start to wear as we come to 11 laps to go here in the stage.
And just like that, Alex Coffey falls from 2nd place, and he will not stabilize until he gets around that 10th position. So just like that, he goes from winning a bunch of stage points to being on the cusp of even winning stage points. And that's just how crazy, how quickly this track develops, how quickly an incident can affect your night just like that. And he's going to end up in a lot of that dirty air, much more than he's used to out in the front, even passing a couple of cars or even getting passed by a couple of cars. But right there, he is still sticking with that high line, trying to make it work, but very wary of the wall as you see the 56 trying to make the pass on the 96 of Steve Cole. And as he takes that outside line, the 7 Alex Coffey tries to get that momentum and just having to lift off to make the corner. And right now, that inside line making moves because that outside line cannot get organized. And there it is, 3 wide, Alex Coffey charging back to the front.
Yeah, charging back to the front of this bottom lane as Gavin Rogers has now lost the lead in the 17 machine. The 18 of Blaine Wilson, he's charged out front here in this 18 machine as he's got Nigel Christian, his teammate, right behind him. But here comes the run from Gavin Rogers with the help of TJ Roberts up top. Now he's got Alex Coffey also in the 7 behind TJ Roberts. This could be 2 teammates looking to get their way up there, but here comes Rogers. Good run out of 4.
look a little further back, you have the 19 on the rear bumper of the 78 with a squirrel from the TJ Roberts, the number 3. But all the 19 needs to do to get up in with his teammates there is just give the 78 a bump. But Zach, how much of a bump is too much? This new layout is really new. This car is really new. Everyone's trying to figure out everything new with tonight. How far is too far with some of these cars? As we see TJ Roberts up in the wall again.
I tell you, it can definitely be easily too far with just even the slightest contact, especially at a mile and a half. We go to 2.5 mile racetracks like Daytona and Talladega. You have a lot of room, and the corners are very much less, tightly acute. The angle of the corner is just way less than what we have here, which leads to a lot more of handling issues, not only here, but also when you're getting bumped, especially in the corner here, it's going to be a tough time. So drivers are going to have to try to hold back as much as they can, wait till the straightaways to give those nice, clean bumps to be able to make the momentum. I tell you, Carl, as we get closer and closer to the stage, this next lap will be 5 to go in this stage. I think the aggression level is just going to keep picking up.
Well, just like that, the 17 has lost the lead and is falling back down past 6th position as the teammates are trying to get organized up here at the front. But right now, the 17 finally getting back to the 7 of Alex Coffey. Alex Coffey with some contact to the wall tonight, trying to make his way back to the front, and we're wondering if that damage might affect him. And going into 1 was a huge shove by the 7 to the 17. But right here, riding along, we're looking at the rest of the pack where we're trying to really figure out who's going to win these stage points. But they have been jostling for position left and right. There's the 3 of TJ Roberts along the outside. You saw that exhaust flash getting off the throttle a little bit, allowing that fuel to burn off in the exhaust pipe. But these drivers are racing for every spot, even for this first stage.
Yeah, looking for every little position here, Carl, is, like you said, the stage nearing here, and those points can be so valuable to these playoff drivers. And right here, looking at Borbell, trying to hold back this 17 machine of Gavin Rogers. They try to make a charge here late in the going of this stage as Borbell trying to help his teammates of Christensen and Wilson up front.
And also looking back here, the 77 of Kubinek, the 24, Johnny Shade, doing really well to try and scratch their way into at least the 10th position for just a couple of stage points. But the 19 started second, doing really well, holding his own in 4th. I don't think he's fallen much further out of the top 5. And so these 2018 drivers doing really well for themselves, already leading laps here early on at Atlanta Motor Speedway from this playoff racing.
Definitely a good time to be leading here in the playoffs, especially. And right here, 2 laps to go here for the stage. And who can set something up? Can they get a run to be able to challenge Blaine Wilson Christensen here, as those 2 have just been outstanding so far?
And Christensen with the 9th place starting position there in that 2nd spot at the moment, really had his work cut out for him. He was definitely out there outside the top 12 earlier on in this run, but looking in the 2nd position, doing really well for himself. But as we see, the top 3 cars are trying to make that breakaway as the 17 and the 7 are sidetracked, and the 19 and the 57 respectively on the inside, trying to have their runs kind of cut short, not allowing them to get full speed. A little bit of contact between the 17 and the 19, but we stay clean and green. But this is the last lap of the stage, and we see Mason Houseman going to the outside of the teammates for some stage points. Will it work? He's currently marked in the 2nd position. The 20 of Nigel Christensen is going to fight hard on the inside line. And here we are, a battle for 2nd for the stage points on lap 50. And there it is, our caution for stage. And just like that, Zach, 50 laps down and away. But we have a lot more racing here to go forward.
That we do, Carl. What a great first stage there. 51 laps, completely green all the way down to the stage caution. And it was Blaine Wilson, the winner of that stage. 2nd's going to go to Nigel Christensen. 3rd is going to be Mason Hausman. Gavin Rogers is going to be 4th. Stephen Borbell in the 5th position. 6th is going to go to Alex Coffey. 7th is going to go to Richard Worcester. 8th is going to be Chad Bean. Dallas Manis in 9th. And rounding out our freaky fast stage top 10 here is Jimmy Kubinek, as they definitely needed those points, Carl. It was a heck of an ending here, but folks, we're going to head to our commercial break here for the stage break. We'll be back in the next few moments.
Welcome back, race fans. We are racing, but a caution has just flown for incident. The 83 of Christopher Norris got to the outside quarter panel of the 56 of Richard Wolsifer, going for, I think it was that fifth position. So right after a stage caution, in fact, we went completely green. We have a caution on the restart, but as we're watching, we see the 83 trying to make a pass, but making it just a little too close. The 56 just trying to mind his business and got caught under on that quarter pedal. So unfortunate incident. But all these drivers have one fast repair. It's unfortunate to be using this early, Zach, but you know, sometimes it's better to have one than not.
No doubt, Carl. It's definitely one of those situations where they're gonna be glad they have a fast repair. They don't want to use it, but they're gonna be glad. And you can see right there, 83 just broken toe link on that car, and that's the interesting thing too, is a lot of people don't account to that. When you break that toe link now, you lose the stopping power of that tire, so it no longer will break. And you saw the 83 just plow headfirst into that wall there, and definitely hurt that machine, as he'll be limping his way back to pit road trying to get it fixed up and use that fast repair. But luckily for both those drivers, not playoff contenders, and it looks like most of the playoff contenders did make it out of that scot-free. Maybe TJ Roberts caught a little bit of it, but I believe he's going to be on pit road getting that worked on.
And that's kind of a miracle of itself, Zach. This looks like the 21 of Adam Buzzio was going around on the wave around. You mentioned it earlier, this track is very narrow, very constricted, not a lot of room to move around when there's an incident, and so the fact that that's only took 2 cars is kind of impressive here at this newly remodeled Atlanta Motor Speedway.
That it really is, Carl. It's super impressive to be able to make it this far without a contact on racetrack, really, that caused something, but unfortunately the 56 and the 83 there came to blows, and it seems like unfortunate for both of them, going to be hurt race cars and looking to get those fixed. And I believe Richard should be in a much better position in that 56 machine, as he was able to get back to pit road, get that car worked on, while it looks like Christopher Norris had to take the tow possibly, as he's sitting on pit road still trying to get that car fixed up.
And so far, neither of those cars are back on the track, so we will see. Doesn't look like either of those cars are trying, or at least the 56 is trying to take that fast repair. So he may be just trying to tape up what he can, hang at the back of the pack, maybe until the end of stage 2 and see where he stands from there. But right now, the drivers are going to grid up and get ready for green. And Zach, that kind of goes to show some of the patience is kind of gone. The drivers have gotten comfortable with these cars. They're making some really, really aggressive moves here now that they have everything underneath them, 50 laps ready to go. Right now, we're seeing some of the choppiness starting to develop.
That we really are, man. And only in stage 2 now. This is another payout time at lap 100 for him to get some more bonus points, and that lap 75 will pay the true points of this race. And got a new contender up front too, the 51 of Gregory Shaw. Remember, he was in that second pack for the majority of that first stage. Looks like got some track position. We'll see if the 51 can make some noise up front here, as he's got plenty of playoff contenders all around him.
And Gregory Schull known to be a little aggressive. How will he handle having all of these playoff drivers around him, especially a couple of teammates taking up that front row? But don't you worry, ladies and gentlemen, you will see it all as we see this 21 Adam Buzzio getting back up to the back of the pack there. The pace car is on turn 3, going into turn 4. Lights are off. These guys are gridded and ready to roll. But this turn 3, turn 4 is so slow. The pace speed is so slow at this 1.5 miles. You just wanted to go faster at this super speedway configuration. But right now, the field in the hands of the 18, and there it is. The green flag is waving, and we are green again. And Atlanta with the teammates side by side going into turn 1.
Yeah, we'll see how they can get this figured out. Can they get back together and work their way through here? As the 2018 teammates want to be working always together. There's 18 of Wilson up front, Christensen leading the top side, and he's also got Borbell and the other teammate, and the 19 right there on the top side. So maybe that 18 will elect to go up high, but right now the outside is just deteriorating as this inside takes off.
Well, the 78, he was behind that 20 of Christensen. He dove down behind the 51 on that inside line as soon as there was a spot available between the 51 and the 9, and that just kind of developed that outside line to fall back. And right now we're seeing about a 4-5 car cutaway of the front of the pack. And right now the two teammates, the 20 and the 19, trying to get together with the help of the 7, who has had some contact with the wall on that outside line, trying to make their way forward. But right now the 38 of Ford holding on strong to that 4th position.
Yeah, definitely hanging on strong right now in that 38 machine, as he was in that second pack also in that first stage, is trying to make his way back forward. Here is now Christensen with the help of Borbell and Alex Coffey use the outside line to try to come back up here, get in line with Blaine Wilson, but Wilson still has Gregory Shaw and Mason Hossman hot in pursuit with him on the inside. And right now, from what I'm seeing, a lot more shoving, a lot more pushing here already early in this second stage.
Well, it's all becoming clear to these drivers what they can do with their cars, how far they can push them, and seeing how they're handling in the dirty air. They know how they handle with the worn tires. And with that pit stop cycle, a lot of these drivers had some really fantastic pit stops, had some pit strategy, was able to cycle to the front like the 51, like the 38, and right now holding solid in top 10s. The 96, Steve Cole, doing really well for himself. He's been in the top 10 almost all day long. You see him, we seem to be popping in and out of the frames, but right now it is really tight racing up there in the back of the pack as we watch the 45 David Manis try to go from the top to the bottom back to the top, while racing alongside also the 77 of Kubinek. Both of these playoff drivers driving for every point they can get.
Yeah, looking for every little thing out here on the racetrack, and you can see from this view here, not a lot of room on this racetrack. You see, you got 2 cars too wide right here ahead of you. Well, there's really only 1 to 1.5 more lanes available for these drivers. And you can see up top there, all the way up in that front position, it's Gregory Shaw making the moves in the 51 machine, but he's stuck in the sucker hole 3 wide up front. It's heating up.
And here we go. He doesn't have any help. Still 3 wide for second place. Sandwiched between the 20 and the 7 as we ride along with the 78 of Houseman. Still giving plenty of room, but how long will that room last? Still 3 wide for this second position. Gregory Shaw holding strong in this middle lane, washing up just a little bit, but still no contact as he looks to try and take that 3rd position away. But we remain 3 wide and still racing down the back straightaway. But here comes the 38 of Ford on the outside. The 51 doing whatever he can, but still falling back slowly but surely.
Just see how close the action is here when it's 3 wide. You enter into the corner, we've seen guys slide up from that bottom lane all the way up into the wall. Well, when you're 3 wide, you have no room to slide up. You got about a half a lane to your outside. And right here, these drivers utilizing every little bit as Ford does clear Shaw, as that's going to allow us to go back 2 by 2 here, as it's going to be Borbell up front making the big move from the push from the 7 machine of Coffee. Is now it's going to be 3 teammates lined up leading 1, 2, 3.
And just like that, they were trying all last stage to get bumper to bumper, and they have finally accomplished their goal. But they have a couple of fast cars to the outside. The 7 of Ford, the 38, who didn't throw down the qualifying time. The 38 started 21st up here in the top 4, and the 51 as well here in the top 6, as we see the back bumper of Borbell getting a little bit of a shove from his teammate of Blaine Wilson into turn 3. These guys are still side by side racing for every position, racing for the lead, and right now it's anyone's game.
Anybody's game right now, no doubt, Carl. As you can see, the push is coming from the 18 machine to the back end of this 19 as Borbell is enjoying to get the lead some laps out here, get some bonus points also. This is a nice touch for him as he's got 2 of his teammates right behind him, and I'm sure Adam Buzio is going to be trying his best to get up there with his 2018 teammates in that 21 machine and see if he can position himself to try to get in position with him, because, man, you're always strongest when you have the numbers at super speedways.
Right now the numbers is in favor of that inside line. That outside line just cannot get going. It seemed like that 3 wide racing really disrupted the momentum of that outside line, especially here later on with 70 laps completed. I'm sorry, on lap 70, as we see some of these drivers. We see Adam Buzzio looks like he is on the lead lap after missing the green flag of this race, and on the bumper of TJ Roberts and Jimmy Kubinik, just kind of on the outside of the top 10 looking in. And right now, looks like we are single file of our top 7, 8, 9, almost 10 cars as Alex Coffey trying to scratch his way into the top 10 for points.
Yeah, definitely trying to get his way back in position, as Coffey's been anywhere from the lead spot back to about 11th. So he's trying his best to get himself positioned here in this second run. And my question is, did these drivers learn anything in that first stage that they can utilize here to help their cars handle better here for the later stages? Man, the shove came from the 45 to the back of the 7, and I tell you, the 7 had one of the biggest runs I've seen all day as he drove out of the picture there we had on screen. And I mean, he went and took a couple spots.
That 7 machine is not afraid to take a run, tank a punch, and keep on going. Been in contact with cars, the bumpers, been in contact with the outside wall, and there he goes again with a strong move to the outside, going around the 9 of Chad Bean. He's trying to take that 5th position, but right now that inside line going into the corner has the shorter line around the track, and the 7 has no help. And here comes the 51, Gregory Shaw, to give the 7 a push. So here we go again. The outside line trying to get reorganized, making a run for the leaders.
Yeah, trying to get reorganized is the key there. And see if they can get the organization up to be able to push themselves forward here. It's lap 73 in the book, start on 74, as we're going to be nearing 100 to go here in Atlanta. It's crazy to say we're already through the first 74 here, as it's been non-stop action side by side throughout the majority of the field. Is right now that inside line again showing the dominance. I personally coming in here tonight was expecting this outer groove to be kind of the way to go, but it seems like this bottom groove has been the way to prevail.
Well, right now I think the outside groove is really struggling between the washing up of the inside groove and trying to balance that and the wall. We've seen the 7 get into the wall repeatedly, and that could damage the performance of the vehicle. The 7 obviously not having too many concerns, but right now the 23 of Christian DeRoche doing really well, trying to make his way into the top 10, fighting the 56, getting by now behind the bumper of the 11 of Giovanni Perez D'Amico. And behind him, the 17 of Gavin Rogers, who led a large portion of this first stage, is currently making a huge move to the inside, going to take that inside line away from Christian DeRoche in the 23, and also have the 77 of Kubinik follow him. So Christian losing a couple, if not 3 spots in one corner.
Yeah, it shows you how fast things can happen here at Atlanta, man. Positions can be lost in the blink of an eye as we drop farther back here. It's the 42 of Sam Dyer here, as he's in 21st all by himself here. And the thing I worry about this, Carl, is when you're all by yourself like this, you're running much slower lap times. 31.77 last time from Sam Dyer up front, at 30.83 from our leaders. So looking at almost a full second of lap time difference between them. As you can even see here, Martin Morales in this 91. He's about 9 seconds back. So he's got Christopher Norris, who's 2 laps down here with him. So this group here electing to be back here farther in the pack here as this stage moves on.
And we're not even halfway through the race yet, so this strategy really allows them to kind of survive, maybe possibly make a run, but it does have the downside is you cannot be too far away from the back of the pack. You have to stay in that draft, especially in that third stage, because there is no guaranteed caution. It looks like the 96 of Steve Cole and of 11 of Giovanni trying to make the inside line work together against the 45 of David Manis. The 11 is going to wash way up the track, have to get out of the throttle, lose a lot of momentum there, and that's going to cause the cars behind to accordion up and compact together. And just like that, one incident, one car getting out of the throttle can really affect the rest of the field behind them.
It really can, Carl. It just happens in a blink of an eye, man, and it can it really catch you off guard. And it's just a great job by all these drivers out here to be able to put it together and not have those mistakes and be able to really react in the right fashion to be able to make it out of it. So definitely an interesting moment there on the racetrack. But if you want to go check out some interesting stuff, you can go check out Admin Box, folks. It's one of the best button boxes out there and one of our best sponsors that we've had here at Freaky Fast. And I tell you, it not only is it a button box that gives you the driver functionality, it also gives you the race control functionality, as that is their main hitting point. It's race control at your fingertips. So make sure you head on over to adminbox.com, and that's adminbox with 2 X's there, to check out what they have in store for you. And you can use our discount code you see there, FFB/BOXX, for a discounted purchases. We always got to give a shout out to the admin box.
And you gotta love the sponsors for coming on board with us here at Freaky Fast, allowing us to bring this a high octane excitement as these drivers are still joshing for every position. This is a 6-car breakaway up at the front, but that second pack is starting to get a little more organized as well, and they're making their way to the bumper of the 51. The 51 did leave a couple of laps last week at Las Vegas as well, so the 51 definitely can lead this field, but he's going to need help here in Atlanta. But it might have found a buddy there in the 30th, Jimmy Porter. They both tried to take that outside line around the 78, but don't quite have the momentum to make that work going into turn 1 and 2. But down here and going into 3, it may be a little different.
That very well could be a little bit different here, Carlos. Oh, you see how much the closing rate can be in the entry of these corners, and Shaw had to back out of that machine there not to get into Plord, and I can show you just how fast action can happen. Is right now it's about a 10-car breakaway is from the 11th position on back of Dallas Manis there in the 45, the 24 Johnny Shade. That group there is just battling super hard as it's 3 wide here, going down the back straightaway was the 56 right in the mix of it.
Oh, he's going to have some contact with the 24 of Johnny Shade, but they are going to stay straight. Oh, he's going to come down into the 23 as well. The 56 acting as a pinball between a couple of cars. He's just trying to stay out of any more trouble than he can, getting caught up in an incident earlier on with the 83. But right now, looks like to have survived that encounter, trying to move forward. But you mentioned it, Zach. For a couple of laps there, that second pack was almost 4 wide going down the front straightaway, but they've kind of organized themselves, trying to make their way forward into the top 10. One of those drivers really struggling right now is the 77 of Kubanek, was able to hang on to that 10th position in that first stage, but with about 15 laps to go here in the second stage, he definitely needs to make moves if he wants to get more stage points tonight.
No doubt, and you also got right here Gavin Rogers, Christian DeRoche is in the 23, along with Richard here in his 56s. This group, like you said, they've been battling nonstop. As Rogers here in the 17, he's trying to make something happen here because he knows he's seen it slip away. As really our top 8 cars are broken away. It's almost a second all the way back to TJ Roberts in that 9th position, and that is kind of crazy to see, Carl. This is a little bit different than we've seen in that first stage, and looks like everybody's found out this bottom is just the way to go, and it seems like you can pull away if you really make things happen down there.
And a lot of these drivers in the front breakaway as well have been up in the front most of the time and have been able to handle their cars on that lower line, not having any contact with the wall, not hitting that apron either. That is extremely important. You hit that apron, it really upsets the car, really wants that car to spin. But all these drivers up here have been able to keep it straight and keep it fast. They haven't had to really slow down, haven't had to get out of the throttle to do any kind of bad hits or getting out of line with the wheels. Zach, here, especially here at Atlanta, you think of a super speedway, it's pretty easy on the wheel. But here at Atlanta, you actually have to use quite a bit of wheel, and sometimes these drivers use just a little bit too much, as we see the 19 get down on that white stripe.
Yeah, definitely. It can happen quickly here at Atlanta. Is, again, Daytona and Talladega, 2.5 mile, and another 2.66 mile racetrack compared to 1.54 miles here. I mean, it is literally a mile and a half that you're running wide open here consistently for majority of the run. And like you said, Carl, you got to turn the wheel much more than what you would at a normal super speedway. So it adds in a whole different effect. And you can see there, just the gaps that form throughout the corner. It's just a much more different style of racing, even though it is super speedway, in my opinion. Still, it is very, very different than what we see at Daytona and Talladega. Much more where you got to think about where you place your car, because quickly the handling can slip away as this group still pulling away in this top 8, as Plord is that last car in the group. And I tell you who else has made it up into that top 7. It has been the 21 of Adam Buzzio after making his return from that lap down. That caution there after that stage really helped him get that lucky dog, and now in position to get some stage points. That'll definitely help him for being a playoff contender.
And you gotta really appreciate Adam Buzzio having to get off late, getting on the system, even coming on a lap down, being able to make it back and doing. He's been a busy guy lately too. A honeymoon. He's gotten married lately, so congratulations to the 21 of Adam Buzzio with capping it all off with a really good run here at Atlanta. And just now, we've kind of just gone over halfway of the race. 11 laps coming on 10 laps to the stage. And Zach, that's one thing I've noticed between the front pack and the rest of these cars. This front pack finally got realization, finally got organized. They're a single line. They're being able to make time, make laps around this pack, around this track. But that second pack, it wasn't quite as organized. In fact, TJ Roberts now a second and a half behind the 38 of Jamie Plord in that 8th position. As we see the 7 and the 3. The 3 gets a huge shove, and there is a caution on track. We see there the 42 slow on the apron, so we'll just have to see if we have any contact there. And though there's the 24, Johnny Shade, playoff driver, having an incident of the 23, Christian DeRoche as well on that inside. So we will have to see what happened here.
A rough moment here, I think, for the 42 of Sam Dyer. We're going to see here this group come up on him as I think Shade here, along with Cole, they might actually already had some contact themselves before this incident. This is actually what the caution is for. I'm sorry, Sam Dyer in 42 was spinning out, but this was the contact that really brought out this caution. And whew, this is going to heat things up, Carl, is right now, you can see the major damage to the 1 and the 24 also there, Shade. Unfortunate for Shade as he's a playoff contender, but man, this is about to change the whole game plan here for a lot of drivers. Do you come down and take tires and risk, trying to do that and stay out at the stage, or do you try to stay out here on the older tires and hold off for a stage win?
How important are those stage points to you, Zach? I think that is the bottom line question that you need to ask yourself. If you're in this pack, you want those stage points if you're in the playoffs. But if you're not in the playoffs, you're looking for the race winner. Right now, if you stop, there's 83 laps to go. You split that in half. We know these drivers can make it on 50 laps of fuel, so you split that in half, you're right around 40 laps. That will definitely leave you in that fuel zone, and maybe, depending on how the stage shakes out, get you into the lead. So a lot, like you said, Zach, this really opens up the strategy playbook.
It really, really does, man, because, I don't see anybody going 75 laps here tonight. That I don't see in a game plan anywhere. I just don't see the fuel mileage making it around here 75 laps here, especially with how much throttle input you have here around this racetrack. I think most guys are going to look to split that last run in two. So if you were to come down right now to try to get some track position at the beginning of this next stage, I think that wouldn't be too bad of a call, because you're going to have to come to pit road at some point anyways.
And you do it now or do you do it later? And again, that goes down to the stage points. It looks like Stephen Borbell is not going to come down, and a lot of our front runners. Oh, there's our one taker that might be. Oh, I can't see. I'll have to see who that is, but it looks like only 1 or 2 cars down pit lane for this pit stop. So we will see how this strategy shakes out, as we are still under caution, about 7 laps to go, but 1 to green.
Yeah, definitely interesting here, and I will say the first set of cars that did come down the lap before was led by TJ Roberts, Gavin Rogers, Alex Coffey. So we did have a lot of playoff guys actually come down and get some tires here. I'm interested to see how much of an effect will the new tires have. I mean, looking lap time wise, the guys were definitely starting to fall off there later into that run. I think we could see a big discrepancy with speed, and that could also set up some major moments here to come into this lap 100 stage. So we're going to have to pay attention here, Carl, because it's about to get wild, folks.
It is about to go crazy, as right now the first car stopping for tires is the 51 of Gregory Shaw in the outside line in the 10th position. And with those new tires, like, he could easily run that outside line, maybe have a little bit momentum, not have to get on the throttle as much with those new tires. But this is going to open up a whole can of worms, as we have seen how much chaos and complexity going 3 wide here can be at Atlanta Motor Speedway. But this Wicked Racing League Buttkicker Cup Series has shown its racing craft in spades tonight, being able to hold on to it with only a couple of spins, a couple of minor crashes, but right now we are going green. It is going to be 6 laps until the end of stage 2, and there we are. So we have some tire spin at the front of the field, and the 7 of Alex Coffey jumping out, making it 3 wide.
Well, this is going to get aggressive here, folks. You better stay holding on here freaky fast as the Wicked Racing League is about to get super wicked. 3 wide. They're trying to build up the speed. I don't think the tires are going to take off right here immediately as all the cars are getting wound up. It'll take a lap or 2 here for these tires to really show up.
The 96 of Steve Cole really having issues going through turn 1 and 2, getting really squirrely. We are still 3 wide. Oh, some contact with the fenders. The 51 and the 3 have a little bit of contact at the doors, but we stay green. 51 trying to make it 3 wide, going to the outside of the 96. The 7 still remains to the outside, remaining 3 wide, but here we are. The 51 sandwiched against the 56. We saw some contact with the 56 to bring out that last caution. We will see if the 96 still has some issues, but the 51 making that middle line work with those new tires.
Here comes the tires, like you said, Carl. 3 wide stacked up. Hausman in the middle, though. That's going to stack things up. And, oh, just like that, he gets touched by Shaw. And right there, they're wrecking on the front straightaway. But somehow we keep it all straight as, no, they're wrecking down into the corner.
Oh, and wrecking into 1. This is 77, the 9, and the 51. So that was just the first domino falling down the front straightaway, causing incident through all of turn 1, and that is going to bring out our caution again here at lap 97. I think actually, race fans, this may be your caution for stage.
Yeah, I think you're exactly right about that, Carlos. We'll go back here and check out what exactly happened. Is behind this group here, they are already having some moments, and here, Kubinek going to the inside of Shaw, they make some more contact, and from there, the fireworks are going to fly, and the caution would come out to bring out our caution here to bring the stage to an end. And, man, Borbell getting himself a victory. 2018 racing, Carl. That is huge for them as a team again. As you can see here, the continued destruction here on the front straightaway as this 51, the 77 pile in more and more to the end of that wreck. But man, what a crazy ending to that stage there. Stephen Borbell was your winner of that stage. Nigel Christensen in the 20 was able to take him second. Third was Blaine Wilson. Fourth is going to go to Jamie Plord. Fifth is going to be Alex Coffey. Sixth is going to go to Adam Buzzio. Seventh is going to be Steve T. Cole. Eighth is going to be Dallas Manis. Ninth is going to go to Giovanni Perez Diamco. And rounding out our freaky fast top 10 is Richard Wolfeser as drivers look to come to pit road, get their service done here. We're going to head to another commercial break here, folks. We'll be back in the next few moments.
He's following, they're wrecking, they're splitting, and it's a complete mayhem.
We have a wreck at the front. 19 goes down into the 7, takes out the double zero.
They're 5 wide behind for pit. Oh my, the 5 wide here, this ain't gonna work, is it? They're already wrecking into turn 1, and now coming through that of turn 2. This is it, the Daytona. Oh no, they're wrecking contact. Sets gets into the wall, gonna be scattering on the outside. Drivers on the apron, drivers coming out of nowhere. Edison on the outside, trying to get the win, and it's William Edison stealing it at the line.
Into the wall. The 18 trying to block. 77 getting to the 18. That leaves 3 of TJ Roberts. 17 to Gavin Rogers. 3 of TJ Roberts is going to steal the win here.
He went second fiddle so many times last season. Christopher Wade wins the season 5 Daytona 200. Drivers, start your engines!
4, 3, 2, 1, green screen. I have no rear grip whatsoever. I'm sideways. Sideways everywhere. Come on, man. Show what you can. The vibration in this car is the worst vibration that I've ever had, and the shifter's broken again.
And welcome back, race fans. As you saw side by side, we are back green for this final stage of our first playoff race for the Wicked Racing League Buttkicker Cup Series. The 7 of Alex Coffey had a great restart. That inside line kind of checked up. That allowed him to take that outside line and lead the 45 of David Manis, really having the inside line to kind of reorganize and come back. But right now, it looks like a 4-car breakaway up top. But there it is, 38 of Jamie Plore diving down low, below the 23 of Christian DeRoche to take lead of that inside line. So already moves being made. And Zach, with caution-free first stage, that second stage was kind of the opposite. These guys have been bumping and banging, making it 3 wide. That give and take has gone a lot from give to a lot of take at this point.
That it really has, Carl. It's crazy to watch how fast that can slip away. Remember, we had about an 8-car, 9-car breakaway at one point. Well, now that after this stage, we have got 19 cars all stacked up. And, well, why don't you do it? Why don't you have it also? You throw in also 2 other lap cars of Seb Dyer and Christopher Norris. They're in the 21st position. You got 21 cars all within a second and a half of each other.
And they are swerving. Christian DeRoche really struggling with that high line. With a 19 of Borbell having a little swirly time on the low line there, having to check up as we're seeing some of these cars decide that they don't want any part of this high intensity driving up at the front. They are deciding to run at the back for the next 70 laps. And we mentioned before the stage break, Zach, these drivers do have one more stop to make. And what will determine that stop more? The tire degradation or the fuel?
You know, that is going to be the big thing. I think also is it's going to come down to fuel. I think tire degradation is going to be key here. But from what I've seen, the drivers have figured out a little bit better, seems to manage the tires by running that bottom groove. So we'll see maybe some guys that right now is too wide, you know, top side and bottom side. Maybe they'll elect to go a little bit lower there to hold a little bit more life in those tires, but it's still very hard action going on. Is back in the pack there, the 11 of Giovanni almost up into the 78, the 3 of Roberts. Luckily hangs on to that machine here down the back straightaway, but right now Nigel Christensen in the 20 trying to gallop to the lead with the help of his 19 of teammate Stephen Borbell.
Well, and separating those two teammates is the 38 of Jamie Plord. And behind the Plord is the 18 of Blaine Wilson. Blaine Wilson led some laps here earlier today, looking to hope to hook up with his teammates and get another 2018 three-car train running. But he has to get around that 38 to do it. And we've seen how difficult passing can be on that inside line just all night long, Zach. All these drivers trying to josh you for position. But obviously, the drivers have their hands full with just the handling of the cars themselves.
Yeah, they really have had. They are having to work tonight in the office for sure. It's not just hold the throttle down, turn the wheel left here as you would think at a pretty much a super speedway style race. Nah, it's throw the handling into that factor, and you got some craziness that's playing out here so far. As again, that top side. It was interesting that last stage we seen the bottom be very, very dominant. Right now, though, this top side hanging in very, very well. My question is, though, will we start to see those tires fade away? And a lot of the drivers up top leading that line were the drivers that came down before the stage break here, as they're going to have a little less fresh tires and also a little less fuel in the race car.
And a lot of these drivers side drafting aggressively, especially on the outside. It was to see the 38 of Ford might have made a mistake on the exit of turn 2. He's going to lose a couple of positions. He's going to stay on that inside apron, just kind of staying out of the track racing surface, which is unfortunate for him. 38 had such a strong run going. But that was a really intense moment there, as that will allow the teammates of 2018 Racing back bumper to bumper to bumper, the 20, the 19, the 18, all respectively. But on the outside, leading is that 7 of Alex Coffey, fighting for that lead. Riding along, though, with the 91 of Martin Morales sitting in the back. Martin has done a really smart race, stayed in the back. He's not a playoff driver, not hoping to cause too much of an issue, but maybe hoping to capitalize on a late race mistake, maybe a missed pit stop by a competitor to get him up where he wants to be to snatch this win away.
Yeah, I think Martin's playing the long game here, as you would say. He's definitely looking to make a run here late in this race. Didn't need stage points, so there was no point for him to go out there and race for him. Personally, he knew if he could stay on the lead lap, he'd be in position here at the end to have a chance. And right now, you can see big checkups going on. You got the 21 of Buzzy on front, and there was the 51 of Gregory Shaw, and something up ahead of that really started to stack up. And you can see how fast when you check up, you lose a lot of momentum. But right there, coming back into one, already getting back on those drivers ahead.
Nigel Christensen leading that inside line had an incident. Check the whole inside line up. There he is, already at the flip side of the coin, getting a great shot from his teammate Blaine Wilson, trying to make a run back up through the backstretch, getting a couple more spots and having that inside line. You see how imperative it is for him to hold that inside line as he maintains that momentum on corner exit. And just like that, he goes from 4 cars back a lap ago to being almost door-to-door with the leader. And that just, I cannot stress this enough. Teamwork makes the dream work, and having 3 teammates really helps all of these cars maintain that pace.
Yeah, it's the battle of the teams there. CNC Esports up top being led by the 7 and the 45. They got the Roaches right behind them in the 23, who's not a teammate, but definitely doing some good pushing there in that 3rd spot. But the 2018 3 teammates there all on the bottom. They're just looking for Buzzio, who's 2 cars back behind the 78 and the 51 of Shaw. So almost all 4 of them lined up. If that was to happen, that would be a devastating blow to the rest of this field, I believe, as it seems like those numbers really help. But look how close the race is down the back straightaway, side drafted. They're pulling everything out now, Carl. It was a lot more give and take earlier. Now that has slipped away, and look at this. They're coming up on lap traffic. Steve T. Cole right here is coming to the picture. They're going to be 3 wide here heading down the front straightaway.
Steve Cole, the lap car, taking that outside line, making it through. I know we have contact with the 18 and the 45. More issues as they pass the 96. The 18 is going to run the 20. Those 2018 teammates stay bumper to bumper, though, but with a changing of the guard at the front for this team. and that is going to cause a little bit of an issue with that momentum. And Zach, we've been talking about it all night long. This track really narrow, and there's the 23, Christopher Roche up against the wall, cannot go in. He's going to lose all his track position, falling back to the pack. And just like that, within a lap, 2 of our top competitors having issues.
Yeah, just like that, out of the draft, and it's going to be just like another super speedway where once you're out of the draft, you're going to lose so much speed. So hopefully for DeRoche's sake, there could be some type of caution to help him caught back up. He's going to need that type of help. But here back on board with Gregory Shaw, you get to see the log jam and the side stairs. They're wrecking up top, the 45 up in the wall. And Manis, they're keeping it straight here down the front straightaways. It's still racing going on up front.
And that looked like a bad push by the 56 going into 3. Got the bumper of the 45, not quite where the 45 wanted it, and unfortunately that sent the 45 into the wall. And there is we've been mentioning, Zach, that give and take meter has gone all the way from give to take. All of these drivers trying to take these positions and take the race win. And right now the 45, David Manis, trying to limp his car way around to pit road, but we're still under green, and so he is going to at least go 1 lap down, if not more.
Yeah, this is not going to play out well for Dallas Manis, as he's got that broken toe link on the right front. He's going to be bringing this car down the pit road to get that suspension worked on. Luckily, should have a fast repair still in tow for him, as that will help him get back up there, maybe to help his teammates later in this race. But right now, the 45, major damage here on pit road.
And as the 45 limps to his pit stall, we have this 4-car breakaway up at front, but they're starting to pile in single file behind them, and we are going all the way back here to at least 11th. About 11th will be the end of this pack, and that'll be Jamie Plord, Jamie Kubanek, and TJ Roberts in front of them. But these guys all single file after that little incident, and just like that, Gavin Rogers, Giovanni Perez D'Amico trying to make a run, and actually looks like they botched it. They're going to lose a ton of position, go from about the middle of this pack to the back, and just like that, blink of an eye, these drivers might have had a chance to make something happen, and ended up not working for them.
Yeah, definitely not the situation they wanted to happen, but you can see just like that, everybody got kind of spooked up front here with the contact, as now Rogers going to try to make something happen in the 17 to get himself back up there. But yeah, this has caused pretty much single file racing now, and really our top 11 here broke away from the rest of the field, and this is going to set up for interesting times as they get closer and closer, trying to inch towards that pit stop window. Because, thinking here, if you get to lap 125, you technically could come down to pit road there, make it to the end of this race. We know people have gone 50 laps here tonight, green. But my question is, I don't think that'll be the perfect point for you. I think some of these guys are going to look to be about 140, maybe 135.
But it all may depend on where the cautions fall, Zach. That was close caution a couple laps ago with that contact, and it might have been outside of the fuel window, but we've seen the Wicked Racing League, especially some of these drivers, use that fuel strategy, try and make that win. And it's hard to say what these drivers will do going forward, as we are on lap 123, about to click off to 124.53, coming on 52 laps to go, getting ready to open that fuel window. Zach, who will come, and will 2 tires be a viable strategy here tonight?
Personally, Carl, I think it's not going to be the way to go, mostly not due to the tires, but due to taking a full fuel load here. With this next-gen car, we only have 1 lug nut on these tires, and changing 2 tires is very extremely fast. Not enough time for you to put a full tank of fuel in that car, or full 20 gallons here that these drivers need, in which they only have 85% also here tonight for that. So that's another thing. So, but still, to get 85% in that car of the fuel limit, it still takes a while. So I think you might as well go ahead and put the 4 fresh tires on.
And that all depends on what is happening on the track. But right here for this 10th, 9th spot, the 11, the 38, the 17, all trying to use that momentum to get in the slot, get in that single file line that these top 11 cars have cut out for themselves. And on top of that, they have about a full second gap between themselves and Martin Morales. Looks like they have, oh, no, here we are. Martin Morales gaining up to here using the lap cars of the 42 and the 96, allowing these extra back of the pack cars to get up to this front of the pack. So we will see if they will allow themselves to go double file and maybe make a run using this outside line. As we see the 91 go high, will he have any help up there? No, he doesn't. He slips down low into the slipstream and continues on forward. But there we are, the 11 of Perez D'Amico getting really squirrely here in the 10th position.
I tell you what, we've talked about 2018 racing all night long. Well, guess what? Adam Buzzio has cracked into the top 5. That is 4 drivers from 2018 racing in that top 5. The first 3 drivers in the top 3 positions. Then Hausman going to be that one lone man out there in the 78 machine. So we'll see, can Hausman make something happen with these teammates here stacked up around him. It's going to be tough, but again, I think everybody right now, Carl, is just looking to get to that pit stop. They know once that last pit stop of this race happens, it's game on.
Oh, definitely, especially these top 10 drivers all trying to single file out, maybe trying to communicate with their team what they're trying to do with their pit stop when they're pitting. Also, pit box selection, where you qualified, is also going to be important. Oh, as we have a spin, the 11 going to get into the inside of the 77, coming out of turn 4. That is going to cause a caution here on lap 129. And just like that, Zach, the question to green flag pit stops disappears. Everyone's going to come down for full service.
You exactly brought up what I was about to say, Carl, because, yeah, now everybody in position to make it here with this caution. And that 77 of Kubanek was the one that went around off the 11 of Giovanni Perez D'Amico, his 5th caution of the night, and our 4th one here for contact. So unfortunate for the 77, but luckily for him, spins it around in the grass mostly, doesn't make any more contact with any other part other than getting a little bit of nose damage from Martin Morales as he got spun around with the noses, those 2 noses of their cars hitting. But here you're going to see everybody coming to pit road, and whew, some moments there.
You don't want to see those brakes locking up, that you lose all the handling, you lose all that braking power. That's the last thing you want on these cars with these big tires, these big brakes, is locking up those front tires on your pit entry that has such a tendency to speed. But also, depending on where your bias is, you lock up those rear brakes. I have seen some of these drivers spin on pit entrance trying to make some of these stops. So it's such a very, very fine line getting onto pit road, even under caution.
It really, really is, Carl. And, that's one thing we have as drivers, to be able to adjust and help handling our cars. And, how much brake are the guys using here tonight? Maybe later in the run, they might be using a little brake to help set the nose into the corner to make it turn. We've seen a lot of guys struggle with this car, washing up the racetrack, getting up into the wall. So that could help them a little bit. I doubt too many guys are using too much brake. Most of them are probably just cracking that throttle a little bit to leave the speed. But man, definitely interesting scenarios there right on pit road as everybody came down. So here Wilson comes off first, and it looks like Kubanek also, he didn't come down that time, so it looks like he'll be coming in this next time around here from that front position.
And we will have to see what Kubanek does. He probably has a little bit of damage with that contact from the 11. And yes, there he comes down pit road to get that service. And that's just unfortunate for Kubanek, kind of sniffing around that top 10 all night long. Got stage points in the first stage with trying to keep his playoff hopes alive. But right now, not looking good as he's going to fall back to the pack after that incident.
Yeah, we'll see how he can recover here later in this race, but that's the beauty of this track here. You're not out of anything here. Even if your car can get up the speed and get up decently to speed, you should be able to be a factor here late in the going up. But my question is, Carl, we've seen a lot of interesting racing here tonight with very aggressive racing in the very first 10 to 15 laps. It seems to settle down after that. I wonder, can that top side keep up that run that it seems to have at the beginning of runs, or is that just a factor of guys backing it down trying to get to that pit stop there, or is that a factor of just the handling where the bottom is just the way to go as the run goes on? we'll have to see. I mean, this is going to be one of the longer runs too, like we've seen that first stage 50 laps. This one will be about 45 to 44 green flag laps. It could get a little spicy.
And that is going to be the key word of the day, is spicy. Stage 1 was really clean, but this second stage was a little competitive. But this third stage is going to be absolute chaos. We have 45 laps to go to the checkered flag. We know the fuel can make it. Can the drivers keep the tires cool, keep their tempers cool, as all these drivers looking for that checkered flag, getting that first win of the first round of the playoffs here at the Wicked Racing League Buttkicker Cup Series. But just like that, you saw the pace car take the hard left onto pit road, and there it is. The green flag is waving. The field in the hands of the 18, but his teammate Stephen Borbell gets a equally good start on the outside, and so those 23-18 drivers trying to get that 19 driver into the fold, but right now struggling on that outside line, coming out of 2.
Yeah, definitely struggling right now as that top side trying to get the momentum built up, but look at that. Hossman with the huge shove to the 19 here. And if Borbell can get out in front of his teammates, it'll be a 1, 2, 3, 4 out front. And look at this big shove coming from the 78, but he knows that's going to happen. He goes to the middle 3 wide. Aggression level picking up here at Atlanta.
And up to 11 here, the 78 taking it 3 wide for the lead. Didn't have the momentum though. He is going to get split coming down turn 2 and outside down the back straightaway. He is still in the middle. He cannot get to either lane right now, and that allows the 19, the 18 to get bumper to bumper. But Alex Coffey back up to the front after a little bit of a stint in the field, and there we are. You see the 51 of Gregory Shaw there on the inside third car there, doing well for himself, recovering after an incident earlier. So we see 23-18 Racing kind of scattered at the moment.
And they are kind of getting a little bit split up here, but they'll try to regroup, regather, and get themselves in position here for a later charge. But right now, it's going to be Coffey along with Borbell side by side coming off of 4. And Coffey going to have that run. His fantastic racing continues on. You folks out there need to check out our merch. I tell you what, we got some of the best out there. We're going to have some new designs coming in here in the future, and you can go check that out there with the link in our description. We'll also get that posted out there in the chat here in the next few moments of our store frontier at Freaky Fast Broadcast. We got hoodies and t-shirts there with our logos on them. And like I said, many more designs to come in the future. So make sure you head on over there. You're going to become part of the Freaky Fast family and join in there and check out our merch. It's definitely high quality stuff. So thank y'all again for tuning in there. Make sure you go check that out. Man, it's just as great as this racing.
That high quality of our merch is equally quality as the racing we have going on tonight. I know I got my shirt not that long ago, and I absolutely love it. Very soft, very breathable. Absolutely love having my shirt. But this racing has been absolutely intense. Edge of your seat, battling for the lead. 3 wide, 4 wide, you name it. We've seen it and done it here tonight at Atlanta Motor Speedway. But the Wicked Racing League is putting in some wicked good racing indeed, as these 2 front drivers still side by side for the lead. And Zach, with the longest run of the day being up front, some of these drivers may have to worry about conserving a little bit of fuel towards the end of this run.
I don't think fuel is going to be any issue. We saw him go 50 laps in that stage, and it was going to be about 45 here in this run. So I think no problems with fuel. Tires, though, again, we've seen that first stage. That's where the tires really came in to be a factor with the fall off. I think drivers here are going to have to manage their stuff if they want to be in position. But look at this big side drafts going down, and the door was opened up there by the 18 and the 19 going up the side draft, that top lane. Greg Shaw takes it in the 51, and now 3 wide for that third row on back.
And I don't know how they're not banging fenders down through 3 and 4, but the 18 will use that middle line to prevail, maintain that position. The 51 doing a really good job keeping it out of there, keeping the low line. But look, new leader here at Atlanta Motor Speedway, the 38er, Jamie Plord, finished on the podium at Talladega, and he's looking good for another podium. But the 51 with the brave move to the outside.
Shades of Talladega coming in here to Atlanta. but the run from the top side, the 3 and the 7, just too strong. And here comes Gregory Shaw. He's been changing lanes, looking for any bit of speed out there on the racetrack, and he's looking to make a name for himself here and get a win in the Wicked Racing League.
And so is that 38 of Jamie Plour. Jamie Plour doing really well, especially in the latter half of the season here for Wicked Racing League. We mentioned him more and more as the season has gone on, but he has his hands full trying to fight off the teammates as we have lap traffic. The 77 going high, having a little bit of effect of this group of 8 cars up here for the lead, and that is going to condense the back of the pack, allow them to come up as well. The 24 Johnny Shade on the outside line, so all these drivers sniffing that win as we are 35 laps to go here.
Yeah, it's slowly clicking away here out of Atlanta, and right now the top side is what is prevailing, but Jamie Plour, he's looking to make something happen. Started 21st on this field, pretty much the last place position other than behind him was Chad Bean. Is a big rebound for him, especially for not getting stage points in that first stage. Was in that second group that stayed back. He needs to maximize this last run.
Maximize would be a win, and he is looking for it, but that's right there. There's going to be a little bit of breakaway. The 51 Gregory Shaw cutting off the 38, going to take that to be a lead roll of the inside line and go door to door with second. Oh, we have a contact between the 19 and the 11. The 11 with the earlier incident. That is going to allow the 18 of Blaine Wilson to make it 3 wide on the inside. More contact between the 19 and 11. 11 trying to hang tight on the outside line, but still we remain 3 wide, and there's some more contact with 19 and 11. We still keep it clean. That must have been about 3 different bumps and bangs between those 2 cars, Zach, in one corner.
That was so close there of a disaster for some playoff drivers like Borbell and Christensen right in the mix there along with their teammate Buzzio. They got Hossman there, also Shade. So quickly things can stack up, but man, you can see right ahead of him it's doing it again. And Shaw is the leader of that bottom lane, but it's been the 7 and the 3, the 2 that's been prevailing up top. But here comes Blaine Wilson, the big shove to the back of that 51 down the back straightaway.
Blaine Wilson making a bold move to go around the outside of the 38 to slide himself in there behind the 51. This is right on board. You see how much banking these corners have, how much little you see to the car in front of you. You can't see through that spoiler. You can't see anything other than the car in front of you. Look at that degree. Look at the banking as we go into turn 1, coming out of turn 2 as it levels out. Just the immense banking, the immense forces all these cars are taking, and the immense handling struggles these drivers are going through. It looks like the 51 still is going to try to get up there, but the 77 with some really aggressive side drafting going to really back up that inside line and make it 3 wide again.
It's stacking up once more again. If you're out there enjoying the show, make sure you hit the thumbs up button out there. Thank you, Kelly Coffee, there for always letting the fans out there know while they're enjoying this. If they are enjoying it, hit that thumbs up button. It really helps us here at Freaky Fast Broadcasting to help engage more fans and get more here at the Freaky Fast family, man. But the racing's definitely getting a little bit spicy here, Carl. As the later we get into this race, the more these drivers know they're willing to risk.
And Zach, we still have 29 laps to go. And the way these guys are racing, I don't know if we're going to make these 29 laps green. But so far, so good after that last incident. But these drivers are really pushing it to the limit and not allowing any kind of give at all as the 18 gives a good shove to the 51. And that just is kind of what we've seen all night long. That second car in line can give a shove into the corner that allows that front car to get a little bit of a lead. But if it's not a good enough shove, you can't make that pass. And it also falls down. Do you trust the car behind you giving you that shove? How much does that trust really, Zach, determine your runs and how you race the rest of the field?
Trust is a huge thing when it comes to places like this. If you don't trust the car behind you, you're not willing to make the moves that you need to make. And it'll make you run defensive. And, you know, that's something that can really affect your race. And right now, we're seeing push and shoving going all around this racetrack. And I think the number one thing is trust, Carl. And I think what, you know, Coffee likes the most is he's got his teammate with him. He knows he can trust him. Gregory Shaw, he's got Blaine Wilson and also Nigel Christensen, 2 teammates right behind him. But, you know, not too much teamwork between these two right here on this bottom side. Is that push there really shoved the 51 straight out to this lead. Will he jump up or will he hold the bottom lane? Looks like he's going to stick to the bottom, but it's going to be Alex Coffey still leading the way by 0.03 of a second there. So it shows you can get shoved out almost 2 whole car lengths, but you better have a run coming to the line or you'll lose this race.
And Zach, what I just saw there might have been a perfect example what we could see the move of the race to win this race. The 51 had a clear shot to cut off the 7 to take that line. He didn't take it. He decided to stay with the driver he's been teaming with, the 18, to keep that line, to keep that momentum going. We still have 25, 24 laps to go, and so we just saw what might be some of these drivers planning what they're trying to do as they come to the checkered flag.
Yeah, I mean, that is something I think that has to be made when you're coming through the checker flag. If you're Gregory Shaw, you have to go up and cover off that top side. If you get that clear entering into the corner there coming off the exit, you know the top side's going to have the run. So I think that's where you'll be looking when you're coming to that checker flag on that white flag lap. But right here now, it looks like the 51's electing to get up there a little bit earlier. Ooh, the bump coming from the 7. That's going to help get him back some momentum. But now Blaine Wilson, Nigel Christensen, they're back in their comfort zone right here, the two teammates. But ooh, big wiggle for the 18 as he slides back. And man, that was a stack up. Now Coffey going to go back to the outside of the 51. This is some great racing.
Oh, they can't decide who they want to push, who they want to be pushed by. All these drivers still side by side. Here we are. One lap, a little bit of a confusion, but right back to where we were. Almost a picture of photographic memory as it were, seeing all these drivers in the past 10 laps make these circuits, make these 1.5 laps over and over again. The intensity just picking up faster and faster. And right now that outside line with the 5 cars, I think with Jamie Floyd. Oh, we see the 19 of Warbell get into the wall a little bit, and that's going to disrupt the momentum of that outside line.
It really did. There was a light touch, but definitely a touch you don't want to make happen there is Warbell getting up into that outside wall and a big shove coming from the 18 to the 51. And, you know, folks, we talk a lot about trust. That's one great thing Carl brought up. Well, we got a sponsor that we trust. We've got an amazing product, and that is iRacing iFlag. You need to head on over there. Check out iRacing iFlag, iRacingIFlag.com, where you can check out their visual flag system with 64 LEDs that gives you a ton of information out on the track to keep you prepared for what is going on out there. So make sure you head on over to iRacing iFlag. Use our discount code FreakyFast2022, and you can get yourself a discount at purchase. As you see, the 18, he jumped to the outside of the 51, but the 51 comes back here off the corner. Oh, the contact, though. Now Wilton up into the wall. This is a major moment here, wrecking on the back straightaway. A bunch of cars involved.
At least 4, and that was, there was no give there. There was no give. That was 3 wide, 3 rows deep at a very narrow track here, and that just, we were kind of waiting for that, Zach. These drivers were really racing aggressively, fighting for that lead, but we're going to pull up the Freaky Fast instant replay side by side. It looks like the 18 might have come down a little bit, expecting a little more room from the 51, but also we are about 25, 26, 27 laps into this run, Zach, and this is right where we see these tires really start to fall off. So I wonder if that might not have had also something to do with this incident.
It very well could have had a factor into it. As you can see here on this replay, just carnage ensuing. Playoff drivers all involved in that. The 18 of Blaine Wilson, of course, in that. Then you're going to have Kubanek, who barely makes it through that, but Wilson with major damage. Christensen is going to catch a little bit of that also. So tough break for the 2018 guys there. But yeah, just, you know, it's coming down to late in this race, a lot of hard racing going on, and just a little bit of contact made between two drivers going for the same real estate on the racetrack, and kind of similar to some of the incidents we've seen earlier. You know, we've seen the 83, the 56 get into it, kind of similar almost to that, just a little too close, and just like that, one little bit of contact at these speeds can equate to that.
And we were hitting on it not too long ago, Zach, that the side draft how aggressive all of these drivers were being, trying to get the side drive, trying to slow the other car. It wasn't necessarily about going faster than the other car, but more about slowing the other car more than yourself. And we are seeing it ramp up, ramp up, ramp up, and that might have been one of those made of boiling points as it were of the situation. Just not enough real estate for both of those cars to kind of cohabitate, as it were.
Yeah, definitely a great word to use there, cohabitate, for sure. It's kind of what we've seen a little bit play out there. But yeah, with all this shaking up here and all these drivers heading to pit road, Adam Buzzio, he makes the decision not to come down. I am questioning this call. The only thing I can think is he looking to, well, I was going to say save a set of tires, but they got unlimited sets of tires here, so tires don't matter. So I think a very, very interesting call from Buzzio, especially someone in pit on 129 there. I know he can make it on fuel, but we've seen tires actually be a huge factor. I think this could come back to bite this 21.
I definitely agree with you there, Zach. Let's go back to stage 2. That restart, we saw a bunch of those drivers that didn't pit, who had, 6-lap older tires, actually spin their tires, have some issues on that restart, have some issues on the first couple of corners, and allowing a lot of these drivers with fresh tires to go 3 wide and try and make those moves. But that's exactly where we've been seeing the incidents, is when these drivers have been going 3 wide, have those runs, and that just makes everything much more complicated for the drivers with the new tires. And there's just a mixed bag of strategies up here at the front of this field.
It really is a mixed bag for sure, especially when Buzzio elects to stay out there, especially with the whole rest of the field electing to do the opposite. Questionable call, I think, from the 21. I think he stuck with his gut feeling. He felt like maybe some more cars would stay out, but I think to his dismay here, Carl, that he's going to find out nobody else stays out with him. He's going to be the only car out there on the old tires here with 18 laps to go. We'll see. Can he make something work here with him? I mean, that's going to be the question. We'll have to see. I mean, looking back to the last laps there up to speed, 30.6 was the lap time, so not too far off.
Not too far off, but here's the thing. Adam Buzzio is in the preferred line, at least on the restarts, that inside line, and we've seen them really have that accordion effect. Really see it now as Adam Buzzio goes through the restart zone. Barney waving the green flag, and green again. 17 laps to go. First playoff race ever for the Wicked Racing League Buttkicker Cup Series, and Adam Buzzio out to a magnificent lead. But Zach, this may not be what he wants. He is way too far ahead of the drivers in front of him, or behind him.
Yeah, he's definitely stacking up a little bit back there. Now it's going to be the runs coming from behind. Can Buzzio hang on, but Coffee up top in the 7 with the power of the 3. Here comes the 70 of Hossman. You can just see the 21 not able to go. Look at this outside line just pour around, and the wrecking behind him. There's a car in the grass. I think Wilson here, hard collision into pit road. He's going to bounce up back onto the racing surface. I don't believe we'll get a yellow here unless there it is, yellow out on the racing surface.
And that is going to cause a yellow, and Adam Buzzio, just like that, is going to lose a ton of positions. But this actually may be a blessing in disguise for Buzzio. He can come down, get some 4 fresh tires. He'd only be in the 15th position at the moment, so we will see what happens. But Blaine Wilson, unfortunate incident back-to-back. He used his fast repair earlier on that previous incident. After that, he is probably going to be done for the evening.
I think that ends the night for our stage 1 winner there, Blaine Wilson. That was, that was one of the heaviest contacts I've seen with the inside pit wall there in a long time. Just, completely none of his doing there to, keeping it off the racetrack. That was just what we call inertia and a lot of energy being exhorted back out onto that racetrack. So Wilson, definitely a tough ending to his night, especially as a playoff driver. Luckily for his case, he does have some stage points to help out, but man, oh man, this is definitely hurt his chances here in these playoffs.
And what it will help is Jimmy Kubanek, who's trying to get in. He's 4 laps down. With that, he should actually get one more spot, so that'll mean one more point for Jimmy himself for his playoff run for these next 3 races. Next week is Martinsville, and we all know Martinsville can be extremely chaotic. You want to have whatever point bank you can before you head into the paperclip.
Yeah, it's tough races back to back, as they would say, I guess. You know, Atlanta here, I mean, this track now is just a whole different racetrack. I mean, you know, we used to come here and it was a finesse racetrack. Now it's a track all about being aggressive, putting yourself in the right positions, and we'll see. You know, can people who position themselves in the playoffs here get a good finish? Or will they have to head off to Martinsville next week, one of the toughest racetracks out there, and try to get themselves a great finish? So, you know, we'll have to see. But right now, Alex Coffey leading the way. He's got to be liking that after sitting on pole position. And the stage is not going to his liking.
It's just not gone his way. He's gotten himself into some bad luck, some bad situations, getting involved in some minor dinks and dunks, and just trying to survive tonight. And that's got to be a large part of what some of these drivers went into tonight. It's just surviving. Just all the factors of this racetrack, all the drivers, the narrowness of the track, the high speeds, the high banking. It just gets really intense really quickly, and you just want to survive. And sometimes, if you can just finish the race, some of these drivers will consider that a win.
I completely agree with you there, Carl. You get out of this place with a finish, you should be happy, especially on the lead lap at that. So, you know, here we'll get him double file back up, and I can confirm too, Sam Dyer in the 42, he did get back on the lead lap with this latest caution. And unfortunate other playoff driver to have some issues that I didn't notice till just a little while ago, Carl. Gavin Rogers had those connection issues kind of rear their ugly head again for him there, as that 17 has gotten himself, he had a packet loss, and then now 14 laps down at 20, and that is going to hurt our regular season champion coming into here tonight.
Well, and we mentioned it earlier, Zach, you can have enough points bank, you maybe have one bad race, but right now Gavin Rogers with those connection issues again, well, this will be that bad race. First one in the playoffs, he has 3 other races to race himself back in, but right now, definitely looking maybe emergency situation for Gavin Rogers, trying to make his way for a championship run. But right now, we have to worry about here and tonight, as these drivers are all gridded up, ready to roll again after our 7th caution flag here. A 6th one due to contact and incident, but right now the pace car is going to make the hard left turn onto pit road, and the field is going to be in the hands of Alex Coffey on that inside line. He's going to make his way to the restart zone. Barney has the green flag in hand, and he will wave it just like that. Back green racing here at Atlanta Motor Speedway. Alex Coffey taking the top line without a doubt, trying to team up with his teammate, going for a win here tonight.
Yeah, they are set on that top side. They don't make any look to go down low. Roberts and Coffey like this groove here, as now we're getting back fired up. Here comes Gregory Shaw after being involved in that incident. He's right back in the mix once again, the 51 right here with a chance to make something happen. But here comes Christensen in the 20. Can Nigel Christensen get himself another victory? We'll have to find out here as he's closing in. Plorge with him in the 38. Here goes Christensen to the bottom, but it's not working. No help here for that 20, but he's going to try to make this happen by himself.
Well, here comes the 51er, Gregory Shaw. Lost a ton of positions going down to the inside lane, but he's going to get in line with a 20. Him in the 78 also going to give a great shove into turn 3. Wash up the track a little bit, but the 3 and the 7 have been nearly unbeatable in that high line, but that looks like something the 20 and the 51 wants to change. Here we are, 10 laps to go here for the Wicked Racing League first playoff race ever, as we are racing still side by side. Ooh, TJ Roberts going to get into the wall, going to cause the rest of that field to check up a little bit, may allow that inside line to get a little bit more speed.
Well, let's see who has the momentum. The bottom lane looks to have it here, as like you said, 10 laps to go now, coming to 9 to go. We hope you folks have been enjoying it out there. Again, let's get some hearts out in the chat for our producer, Robert Moore Jr., after coming back like a trooper here tonight and being able to bring this show to you fans for the first ever playoff race here at the Wicked Racing League as the run comes from the top side once again. The 7 and the 3, they are just stuck up there and they are making it work, but will they be able to make it work when it counts?
Ooh, more aggressive side drafting from those top 2 cars, the 7 and the 3. Gets squirrely here. We have some more contact coming out of 4. That is going to allow the 78 to take the inside line from the 51, but we stay clean and green. But that outside line is going to just run away with it. It's going to take some time for this inside line, but time is slowly ticking away. 8 laps to go.
8 laps here, ticking away like you said here, Carl, and now the top side looking dominant here, late to go, but Perez, the 11 of Perez Diemco up into the wall. There's Rogers, who's 14 laps down after his connection issues, sliding back. It's stacking up there with that group, but again, the bottom fights back, only 7 laps to go, but Christensen, with the help of Hausman in the 78, has made the run up to the lead, and now challenging for the spot. They make contact, and here they go down the back straightaway, stacking up 3 wide.
3 wide for the lead, 3 wide, 2 rows deep. We have the 91 of Martin Morales trying to make a move to the front of this pack. Zach, we mentioned that he was hanging out at the back all day long, but here he is looking for a podium position. The 91 and the 83 looking strong late here in the run.
So close to a podium position at last week at Las Vegas. A caution didn't help the 91. He plays the long game here tonight. Now up into the top 4. Here comes the shove from the bottom. The 83 and Christopher Norris were along with him. The runs are starting to happen here late in the going.
Late indeed. We are 6 laps to go, going into turn 3, coming up on 5 laps to go. And again, side by side, 5 rows deep, just like we started this race. But you see him bobbing and weaving. The 83 shuffled into the sucker of the inside line. The 51, Gregory Shulgam, trying to take that inside line away. He's trying to make his way back up into a podium spot. Might be regretting taking that move to the inside line earlier on, but can't think about that now. He has to move forward, but as all these other drivers are moving forward as well, the 3 and the 7 seem to be untouchable with great teamwork chemistry, keeping that 7 up front. But don't look now, Mason Hausman trying to get a shot from the 91, getting up there to the front.
Johnny Shade, the 24, he's made his way up here also. Playoff drivers with the yellow banners here, all up in the top 4. Here comes again Martin Morales in that 91. The give and take is out the window. It's only take from here on out. 4 laps to go, coming to 3 to go here at Atlanta.
Going into turn 3, the number 3, the number 7, still bumper to bumper. Johnny Shade trying to get his name up there in the podium spot. Mason Hausman not doing anything in the lead position of the inside lane. Martin Morales not giving a good enough push there. Neither is the 83, really struggling, trying to close the gap, getting those cars to the front. And we have a caution on track with 3 to go. Ladies and gentlemen, as if it weren't exciting enough, we have overtime here at Atlanta Motor Speedway. We see some damage to the 42, the 19, the 21 of Adam Buzzio looking to have some issues, as well as the 11 of Perez D'Amico. Zach, we need to check on Robert, see if he's okay, because this has got my heart beating.
Yeah, this is been a wild one for sure. You can see there that a little bit of an aftermath of what happened is that's the 11 there, wrecked farther down the racetrack, but it all really started heading down in the 1. It was a little bit of a stack up between Steve T. Cole, Sam Dyer in the 42, and Giovanni Perez Diemco, and these guys all bouncing off each other, heading off in the 1, and the 42 was well off into the puckle brush and just was trying to hang on to that machine, just couldn't keep it up off the racing surface. And this has set up a wild ending because right now, again, Alex Coffey and TJ Roberts, they've had such good control of this field out front, but they're going to have to withstand a restart where a lot of big runs can come from.
A lot of big runs, and they are going to be side by side and not bumper to bumper. We will have to see how this turns out for our top 2 runners. Looks like we have some wrecking under yellow on the pit entry. Don't know what that was about. You see all this smoke there at the top of your screen. Gotta say that was a little bit interesting. But as I was saying, race fans, don't go anywhere, because after this race concludes, we will be interviewing our top 3 finishes of this extremely exciting and chaotic race here at Atlanta Motor Speedway. Zach, overtime. AMS, anything goes at this point.
Yeah, I mean, you know, throw the notepad out the window, throw all the books, anything you learned before. It's about to turn into a all-out brawl here for 2 laps of just madness. And I mean, we could have another 2 attempts after this. I mean, you never know. Atlanta could really shake things up to, as they would say, is we're going to be going to overtime, making this race 177 laps here tonight in Atlanta. Man, these drivers are going to be worn out.
Worn out. I don't know about them, but I know I'm worn out. This is going to be extremely exciting to watch, and it will be definitely spicy and wanting to see more from us. But ladies and gentlemen, don't you go anywhere. We will be having all that here shortly. And with the overtime rules, the way it goes is we will have 3 attempts to race to the white flag. If the caution comes out before the white flag comes out, we will rack them up and try again. But if the white flag comes out and the leader takes it, the next flag will end the race. Doesn't matter if it's a caution, doesn't matter if it's the checkered flag, it will end the race. But right now, we have 1 to go at this caution. Zach, rack him up. Let's go again.
Now we are rack them up for 1 more time. Possibly we could have another 2 times. So it ain't over yet, folks. I know this race has been super wild. Well, get ready, because it's all about to be on the line here for the first playoff win here at the Wicked Racing League. That could be a big thing for one of these drivers here to really help, you know, bolster their championship chances here heading into the final few weeks of this season. And as we head into Martinsville next week, it's only going to get tougher down the road. These drivers are all going to be looking for glory here tonight at the Atlanta Motor Speedway.
Definitely looking for that win, because there's Martinsville, Phoenix, and then Bristol. An absolutely brutal playoff schedule here for the Wicked Racing League. So whoever can win this race, if they're in the playoffs, can kind of have that peace of mind going into that championship race knowing they are locked in. But we are about to find out who that will be as we are ready to go racing these extraordinarily slow pace laps around Atlanta Motor Speedway. The field is in the hands of the number 7, Alex Coffey. Alex Coffey leading a ton of laps tonight, loving that outside lane, but here he goes to the restart zone. The green flag in the hands of the flagman, and there it is, waving proud is the green flag, and the 7 of Alex Coffey, just like he did on that last restart, is going to get up right in front of his teammate TJ Roberts and lead another lap.
Just like that, jumping back up to the top side. We've seen it all night long. Here comes Martin Morales, though, in the 91, along with the 3 up top. And here they go. Big run from the 91. He takes advantage of it, but it doesn't have the help down low. Will he be able to make something happen? I don't know here, Carlos. They're going to be coming out of 4.
This is where that aggressive side draft needs to come into play. Martin Morales not aggressive enough with the side draft, and that is going to allow the 7 to launch with his teammate around into turn 1. But the 24, Johnny Shea, trying to get to the outside of the 3, trying to slow the 3 down, slowing that momentum. And there goes the 23, trying to give a shove to the 24. And that's going to force those 2 teammates to go low for the first time tonight. And there it is, Johnny Shade making a pass. This is the white flag. We're going 3 wide. Here we are, the 83 on the outside of the 7. We have contact. There's the 23 getting around. The 38, everyone crashing along the front straightaway. And just like that, the winner tonight is the 24 of Johnny Shade. He needed a win. He got a win tonight at Atlanta Motor Speedway.
What a finish, and what a win for Johnny Shade. It was the move down in the 1 to get to the outside of the 3 that broke up the 3 and the 7 and opened up the door from there. It was mayhem down in the 3 and 4. TJ Roberts is going to come home somehow in 3rd or in 2nd, and Adam Buzzio, after all that, is going to come home into the 3rd spot. What a wild finish.
Wild finish, a wild race, Zach. We have just saw a great race, and that just I'm loving the racing that this Atlanta Motor Speedway has developed. I understand it was definitely a favorite to a lot of drivers, but this new Atlanta, you give it a shot. I think it has some surprises for everyone. But ladies and gentlemen, don't go anywhere. We will be right back to interview our top podium position finishers after that wild finish. So while I go get a drink and catch my breath, we will be right back with those post-race interviews. And welcome back, race fans. After 178 laps of freaky fast action, we have had the top three finishes. The winner of Johnny's Shade, I can't say dominating, but led the most important lap. But we're going to talk to our third place finisher first, Adam Buzzio. Adam, you had a long day today. You actually missed the green flag, but here you are, a podium finish. Take us through that run tonight.
Oh, buddy, it was a long one, man. I've been in Chicago since Monday, and I was I made it just in time. So yeah, it was a long day. Did not expect this at all. I was completely content just getting to start the race, and not not getting to run in the playoff race. Yeah, that was something else, man.
That it definitely was, Adam. I tell you what, man, a wild finish there and a crazy race here tonight at Atlanta, but definitely a great ending there for you. You know, we saw you make the call there to stay out on the older set of tires there. Take us through that because, we've seen tonight the tires actually did seem to matter quite a bit.
They mattered. They 100% mattered a lot. I think it was about 15 to go or so. I had been kind of stuck. Obviously, the first two stages. Well, I'm sorry. Yeah, the first stage and a half was kind of a wash for me. I was just trying to stay out of trouble and get my lap back. I didn't want to hold the leaders up. You know what I mean? Like I said, I wasn't physically able to start the race on time, so I didn't want to hold them up because of that and try to stay, fight to stay on the lead lap. So I didn't realize there was another car lap down, so it took me a while to get back on the lead lap. But I had been, long story short, sorry, I had been stuck in the middle of the pack a lot. And I realized pretty quickly how important track position was here. And I just figured, we got 15 laps left. It's going to get crazy. Let's see what happens. You know what I mean? I figured worst case scenario, I was going to get eaten up. And that's exactly what happened. And then we got involved in a wreck, but it all worked out in the end there.
Yeah, you mentioned track position, Adam. Next week, we go to Martinsville. Track position is definitely important there as well. Can we expect to talk to you next week?
Man, I'll tell you what, I hope so. Martinsville is one of my favorite tracks. I've gotten a lot of wins there. It'd be really nice to get that first win of the season there next week and and lock ourselves into the next round. But hopefully you'll be talking to us.
Well, I hope to be talking to you, Adam. Good luck. Anyone want to give a shout out to tonight?
Yeah, a couple people real quick. Robert, I want to say thank you to him specifically, and thoughts and prayers are with him, obviously, with what he's going through. I'm grateful you guys were able to do this for us tonight. Thank you guys for doing the broadcast and doing such great work for us. I want to thank my wife Julie a lot tonight. If honest to God, if it wasn't for her, man, I don't think I would have got into. I don't think I would have got in the race as fast as I did. She had the door unlocked. She had everything set up for me. I literally ran from the car to the sim rig. So big shout out to her. Shout out to my teammates. They ran a heck of a race, man. They were up there all night and it just didn't work out for them. So it's unfortunate, but they did well. And thank all the competitors. Shout out to Johnny for his second super speedway win too.
And congratulations to you as well. We look forward to seeing you next week.
All right, guys. Thank you so much.
And there you have it, the third place of Adam Buzzio, knowing when it was time to go and making it work. But our second place finisher, TJ Roberts, was in that second place for quite a time. TJ, Carl, and Zach up in the booth. You were given really solid pushing to the 7. What happened there at the end for everything to kind of fall apart?
It's kind of like we were just talking about, man, going through that double dog leg there at the last dog leg. I can kind of run middle up a little bit. I don't have to run all the way to the wall, and I can use that coming out of the dog leg as protection. I guess I just gave him too much room, and he had to run. They called outside, and then it just seemed like I didn't have enough room to slide back up. In the middle of the turn, I almost did, but yeah, I just was trying to keep from a big pile up happening. So that's definitely on me. That's my fault.
Well, I tell you what, TJ, still nonetheless a good finish for yourself, man, to get this second spot here to start off the playoffs. That's got to be good for you. You know, we've seen there early in that first stage, we went all 50 laps green, and man, the handling seemed to be a big factor. How much was it actually a factor here tonight?
For me, it was horrendous. Yeah, after about 25 laps, she just started falling off, and no air on the nose, and then 3 and 4, right there in the middle of 3 and 4. I guess that's where the tunnel's at. It really binds coming back in the middle, so it really put a lot of pressure on the guys, and a lot of people were lifting. And then once you get the lifting, everybody starts checking up, and so you get the slinky effect of the yo-yo. But big factor.
A big factor there, but another tight track next. We have Martinsville. We know Martinsville can be definitely a blender enough as it is. What can we expect from you next week?
I'm going to be looking for a top 5 finish. I'm not a short track genius there, so hopefully we can keep her clean, get all the way through the race, and salvage some sort of a top 5.
Well, we definitely look forward to talking with you if you can get that top 5, even a top 3 there. But before we let you go, any fans you want to shout out to tonight?
Man, I'd just like to say hello to my mom, hello to Kenworth. I know they're paying attention. I want to say thanks for CNC Esports for just putting this on and getting me to the level that I've finally made it to. And also want to say thank you to Jocko Go. Go get some.
Well, you definitely got some tonight, TJ. Congratulations on your second place finish. We hope to talk to you next week.
All right, man. I appreciate it.
And there you have it. Our second place finisher, TJ Roberts, made a little bit of a mistake, and that's all it takes here at the super speed style Atlanta Motor Speedway. A moment you've all been waiting for is to talk to our leader, Johnny Shade. Johnny, it is Carl and Zach up in the booth. You made the perfect move at the right time, leading that last lap. Take us through that last green-white checkered.
Oh man, that was crazy. I pretty much just came up with a plan with Christian, had my teammate behind me, and we don't get in those situations too often. And honestly, when the caution came out to bring out the green white checkered, I was a little disappointed because I thought we had a good plan to get around them. And then the way the restart played out with the top line kind of taking off there, we were able to execute our plan, and they kind of did us a favor by opening up just a little bit of room up near the wall in the quad oval after coming to the white. And so I just kept my foot in it and decided that, I was going to run that lane by the wall. And if someone came across my nose, then that's how it was going to end. But it was probably my only chance to win, so I took it.
Yeah, man. Tell you a big night there for the 24, Johnny. I tell you, man, congrats on the win. Second one of the season. Now going into Martinsville, don't have to worry too much about that. How do you feel about moving on to the next round of the playoffs?
I'm ecstatic, and to be able to go into Martinsville with a clear mind and just basically already be able to run some practice laps looking forward is a huge weight off my shoulders. I'm not confident at Martinsville in these Cup cars. I've only ran it once or twice, so I knew Atlanta was going to be a big opportunity. I think I said it last time I got to speak with you guys that these drafting tracks tend to be a little bit more up my alley and my forte, and I think 2 wins at two of the three kind of proves my point there. So ecstatic to be moving on, and I couldn't do it without Christian's work at the end. I mean, watching the replay back, he was hooked up on my bumper from exit of 2 all the way up until he got clipped in the final corner. So I couldn't have done it without him.
Well, congratulations to you, Johnny. Any fans you want to shout out to tonight?
Just everyone watching, we appreciate you every week, and we're looking forward to seeing everyone next week. And again, big shout out to my teammate Christian.
Well, congratulations. Shout out to you for winning tonight. We look forward to seeing you run next week at Martinsville.
Thanks, guys. Have a good night.
And there's our winner here at Atlanta Motor Speedway, Johnny Shade, slowly becoming our our super speedway ringer, Zach. And tonight was just a really crazy night, I'd say, especially for the last half of that race.
It really was, man. Congrats to Johnny Shea. That is great to see another win for him this season, and an important one too. And the great teamwork from his teammate there of the 23 Christian Roches. Unfortunately, he came up 10th there with all that mayhem playing out, but it was his push. He talked about it. It was the big push from his teammate of the 23 there that allowed him to make it happen. So good on him, and that could be when that happens as a teammate, you can push your teammate to a win. It's almost like a morale victory, even though you didn't get the victory out there. It's a good boost saying, man, I helped push him to it. So great teamwork for those two, and what a big moment moving yourself on in the playoffs.
Huge moment, making a championship run, and like you said, Zach, sometimes the final result won't reflect on what you went through, but Johnny Shea, TJ Roberts, Adam Buzzio all on the podium. Gregory Shaw, even with an incident, having the 4th position. Christopher Norris rounding out the top 5. Jamie Plort in the 6th spot. Nigel Christensen in 7th. Martin Morales in 8th. Alex Coffey in 9th, almost dominated the race. And then Christian DeRoche rounding out the top 10. We mentioned it earlier, Gavin Rogers there in the 19th position. He had some connection issues. That's going to make his playoff run a little more difficult as he goes forward. Jimmy Kubinik needed a good night, couldn't quite get it. Minimum stage points, so this is going to be interesting moving on the rest of the playoffs. But Zach, next week we have Martinsville, and ladies and gentlemen, you won't miss a minute of the action. Zach mentioned it earlier. You hit that like button, you hit that subscribe button on YouTube, Twitter, Facebook, you name it, we're on it. We even got a TikTok out there. I know Sam Dyer has been doing some killer videos, so go ahead, check that work out. Also, show some love for our producer, Robert Moyer Jr., toughing it out, being a trooper, helping us out here tonight. So with that, ladies and gentlemen, I will sign off with, again, my normal. You guys stay safe, you stay strong, and stay freaky fast.